The brown wall, ever hear of it? Well, I highly doubt you have, as we made it up just for the sake of this video. But the underlying concept, if you've ever been in a sales environment, I'm quite confident you've heard this phrase. Throwing shit against the wall, hoping something sticks. Yes, I realize we could have used mud instead of shit in this case. What fun would that be? It lacks the appropriate emphasis. And since we're going to be speaking about financial sales, particularly life insurance, that emphasis is required. Let's break it down. Now, let me precede by saying that I am fully aware that this video content may offend some sales agents. Maybe it's a sign of guilt. I don't know. But the point of talking about all these topics is to maybe help identify some of these ineffective and harmful practices. And just who is harmed? We'll wait and identify these at the end of the video. And yes, I have been guilty of this practice myself. I can honestly say that I have hurled my share of shit. And at the end of the day, it's quite disturbing just how much of that shit still lay on the floor at the base of the wall.
That is one big pile of shit.
So how exactly are we going to relate this to life insurance sales? Well, it begins with the knowledge level of the agent. You see, there is no one size fits all in life insurance. So if you're only knowledgeable in one single type policy, you're not always going to be suited to service every client. Using our brown wall parallel, your shit has very little chance of sticking. This is the exact same supposition that applies to these in-the-box life insurance carriers. These type carriers only offer a single product, which is generally only suitable for a specific demographic. We actually go over this type carrier in one of our other videos. I'll try to stick it right here. Forewarning, if you're a fan of Colonial Penn, or if you work with them, you might not want to watch that one. So let's break down the whole brown wall model. So you've got yourself, the agent, with a phone and a decent pair of vinyl gloves. If you're one of those super advanced shit tossers with the auto dialing software, you get credit for a shovel for your extra volume of shit. Well, just what is the shit exactly? Now, if you follow this video series, especially the last video where we exposed some major scamming, then you know exactly where I'm going with this. It's the leads and the contacting of the leads. All right, assuming you've watched the previous video, you've now got a healthy conglomeration of data feces. The name of the game is to take this poop and heave it at the wall. Throw up a little prayer that it might stick. The strategy of which you do this might vary from agent to agent. I've seen some straight catapult that shit, like coming in all aggressive. The person on the line may be trying to end the conversation because obviously they don't want to be on the phone with you, but the agent is trained to just keep on reading that script, raising the voice if needed as to not be interrupted. And as soon as that script is finished, quickly confirm the birth date. I never really understood those who just throw the shit that hard. I don't know, is it just a matter of trying to overpower someone into buying something? I don't know. I do know that these calls typically end with a hang up. But then you've got your agents who try that softball toss approach. Just lightly lob that shit at the wall, usually using lines like, "I'm just here to give you some information that you didn't ask for." Virtually none of this shit ever sticks to the wall. Interestingly, how quick the shit hits the floor is pretty much dependent upon the personality of the person called. For instance, if that person is short-tempered, that dookie bounces off the wall and hits the floor as quick as they can hang up the phone. Now, if the person's less confrontational, you might see that poop maybe cling to the wall for a minute or so, but rest assured, it will roll down the wall and eventually hit the floor too. Now, yes, occasionally you will make a close out of one of these sewage leads, but we've been studying this stuff for quite some time, and I'd like to make 2 points. Number one, I'll ask the question, how long is any agent expected to continue using that brown wall method with the low quality leads? The return is low. 98% of these calls are rejections, sometimes very hurtful rejections. People on both sides of the call just get pissed off. I mean, just how much of this negativity should be allowed to continue with no to low net positive benefit? Point number 2, and if I'm a carrier, I'm paying attention to this one as well. Go back and review policies that you've written that lapsed in the first year. See if you notice something. We are finding that sales from these shit-toss leads are making up the majority of those who lapsed in the first year. It sticks to the wall for a little while, but due to the initial low quality of the lead, combined with a lack of proper training to the agent, the bond to the wall does not hold. Plop to the floor it goes. Remember, we mentioned earlier something about the harms associated with the brown wall. Let's identify now just who's harmed. The obvious first entity harmed is the agent. They go broke buying these dung leads. They get verbally mutilated excessively, constantly, daily. And for what? Little to no return from shit leads that won't even stick to the wall for a full year? Stats are showing that back charges are clawing back almost 40% of an agent's advanced earnings. And if you're one of these one-trick pony agents who look for every prospect to be a final expense policy, you are going to have a very difficult time to get your shit to stick to the wall. Also harmed is the clients. I mean, of course the clients are being harmed. I mean, they could lose money in the deal and lose the opportunity for generational wealth. Oftentimes they are very poorly educated by the agent. We've seen clients thrown inappropriate policies because the agent was not trained any further than final expense. Someone else that loses out in this deal is the carriers. When the shit doesn't stick to the wall, the carrier loses too. See, in that brown wall environment, the carrier may actually be better off if you just don't toss that shit at all. I'll explain. Every application submitted bears a cost to the carrier, whether it's approved or whether it's declined. So all that shit piled up at the base of the wall that just bounced right off, it's costing the carrier too. In fact, we learned that a newly written policy must remain on the books for between 4 and 5 years before a carrier ever sees a net positive. Sometimes I wonder why the carriers aren't more proactive in this part of the sales process. We're about to change that. Lastly, the industry itself is harmed. The brown wall is straight killing the industry reputation. Insurance agents have become the second most hated, and I hate to call it this, telemarketers out there. You know who's number one.
We've been trying to reach you concerning your car's extended warranty.
All right, 2 messages to close. The marketing agencies, quit mining this digital manure. Just because you can capture someone's data online doesn't grant you the right to sell it as a life insurance prospect again and again and again. And to agents, let's stop buying the horse shit and not participate in the shit tossing. Because I'm going to tell you, no matter how much shit you throw or how hard you throw it, there's only ever going to be so much shit that will ever stick to that damn wall. So I hope you gained some value from this video. And if you have not yet seen it, I suggest you go watch this video right here to learn more about where these leads come from. And as always, we believe another great resource is Patrick Bet-David. If you haven't seen our interview with him, click right here. And we'll see you on the next video.